If you're over 60 and you're dealing with chronic constipation, well, you know the feeling, don't you? That heavy, just constant pressure in your stomach from the moment you wake up. You've been told the same things over and over. Drink more water, eat more fiber. But what if I told you that advice is actually making things worse? Okay, let's dive into this because there's a very different solution. And you know what? It might already be right there in your kitchen. And I want to start right here because this is probably the most important thing you'll hear. What you're going through is not your body failing you. It's not a personal failure. It's not just aging, and it is absolutely not in your head. There is a very specific, almost mechanical reason why things aren't working. And once you see it, all those things you've tried before are finally going to make sense. So let's talk about that awful cycle. That feeling that you're doing everything right, you're following all the standard advice to the letter, but you are getting absolutely nowhere. You're not alone in this, I promise you. And there's a reason why the conventional wisdom is failing so many of us. I mean, does this list look familiar? You drink all the water, you eat the brand muffins, you've probably tried every single powder and pill the pharmacy has on its shelves. Your doctor, I bet, gave you this exact same list. But the relief, right? If it comes at all, it's temporary and it's just unsatisfying. And this is the question that can really drive you crazy, can it? You're following all the instructions, but you're still stuck. Well, the answer is both simple and incredibly frustrating. You've been given the right advice for the wrong problem. Let's take a look at what the real issue is. And here we go. This is the part that could change everything for you. We really need to talk about why more fiber, the number one piece of advice everybody gives, can actually be the very thing that's making your situation so much worse. It all comes down to what's happening on the inside of your intestinal wall. Okay, so here's the core misunderstanding. All that advice to add more fiber, it assumes your gut has a healthy, slick, protective mucus lining. But for many of us, after 60, that lining has worn down. It's just not what it used to be. So when you add more bulk from fiber, you're not helping things slide through a smooth pipe. No, you're creating more friction against a rough, dry surface. More bulk just means more strain. You know, the best way to think about it is like a good non-stick pan. When it's healthy, your gut is like that pan. Everything just slides right off. But when that non-stick coating wears away, food starts to stick and drag and build up. Now, adding more food to that sticky pan doesn't fix it, does it? It just makes a bigger mess. Well, that's exactly what fiber can do to an uncoated gut lining. And this is why all those other solutions miss the mark too. You can pour all the water you want into that sticky pan, but it's not going to recoat the surface. And laxatives, all they do is force your colon to contract, creating a dependency over time without doing a single thing to heal that underlying issue, that worn down lining. So if the problem is a worn down lining, well, the solution is to rebuild it. And the amazing thing is, we can do that. We can do it with 4 specific oils that give your body the exact raw materials it needs to repair itself from the inside out. Here it is. This is our toolkit, and each of these oils has a very specific job to do. MCT oil, that gets things moving and fast. Castor oil is our powerful but occasional stimulant. Flaxseed oil is all about structural repair. And olive oil, well, that's the one that rebuilds the entire system. Let's break them down one by one. First up is MCT oil. Think of this as your fast response tool. Unlike other fats, it gets absorbed by your body super quickly, and it triggers a hormone called motilin. Motilin is basically the signal that tells your colon to start its wave-like contractions. So this is for those days when you just feel stuck and you need some relief within a few hours. Next, we have castor oil. Now, this is the heavy hitter, and you have to use it with respect. It contains a really unique compound that directly stimulates the intestinal walls. But because it's so powerful, the rule is simple. Half a teaspoon, maximum twice a week. Any more than that, and you risk getting the same kind of dependency that you get from pharmaceutical laxatives. All right, now for the repair work. Flaxseed oil is the single richest plant source of a specific omega-3 that your body uses to literally rebuild that protective gut lining. Remember our pan analogy? This is the oil that recoats the pan. It's structural. The key here, though, is that you have to use it cold and fresh. Heat just destroys all of its amazing benefits. So far, we've covered oils that help things move and oils that help repair the lining. But this last oil, it does something fundamentally different. It doesn't just help the system, it rebuilds the system that produces the movement and lubrication itself. Honestly, this is the one that changes the whole game. It's extra virgin olive oil, and here's why it is so profound. It contains something called oleic acid, which directly stimulates these little things in your intestines called goblet cells. Think of these as tiny factories that produce that essential mucus lining. So olive oil doesn't just add lubrication, it tells your body to start making its own again. And look, this isn't just a theory. In a major study, researchers followed adults over 60 who took extra virgin olive oil every single day. And after just 4 weeks, 3 out of 4 of them found consistent, comfortable relief. And what's more, the effect continued even after they stopped because they hadn't just treated a symptom, they had repaired the actual system. So this becomes your foundational morning routine. It's simple. 1 tablespoon of a high-quality extra virgin olive oil to wake up those goblet cells, the juice of half a lemon to trigger biorelease, that's your body's own natural lubricant, and just a little bit of fresh ginger to gently activate the colon's muscle contractions. It's a 3-pronged approach all in 1 small glass first thing in the morning. Now, a quick but really important note on safety. If you happen to be on blood thinners, you've got to talk to your doctor because olive oil does have some mild thinning properties. If you have IBS or Crohn's, just skip the castor oil entirely. It's way too stimulating. And you might feel a little bit of mild nausea for the first couple of days. That's totally normal. It's just your gallbladder waking up. It'll pass. Okay, I know that's a lot of information. So how do you actually put all of this into practice? Let's get to the simple, actionable weekly plan and see how this all fits together. Here's how simple this is. That olive oil drink, that's your daily foundation, every morning. Then, 2 or 3 times a week, you swap in the flaxseed oil instead for that deep structural repair. On those days you wake up feeling heavy and just stuck, you use the MCT oil for a fast response, and you keep that castor oil in the cabinet for those rare, gotta-go emergencies. 4 oils, 4 very clear roles. Simple. So what can you realistically expect? Well, within the first week, often just a few days, that bloating starts to ease up. By week 2, mornings just feel less like a chore. And then around week 4, many people have this aha moment where they realize they just haven't thought about their digestion all day long. That feeling of absence, that digestive silence, that is the goal. So the most crucial point to take away from all this is simple. Your body didn't just forget how to work. For decades, the unprocessed, healthy oils your gut depends on were quietly replaced in our food system with cheap, refined oils that were stripped of all their benefits. Your system didn't break down. It was simply starved of the right fuel. And that brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? You are not broken. You've just been using the wrong tools for the job because nobody ever gave you the right ones. This whole thing is about giving your body back the materials it always needed to function the way it's supposed to. I want to leave you with just one final thought to think about. The last time you talked to your doctor about this frustrating chronic issue, what was their advice? Was it any of the things on that failed advice slide we looked at earlier? Thinking about that gap, the gap between the standard advice and what actually works, that's really what this is all about.